How's it going, everybody? I'm Lewis and the Old School RuneScape team have released an update for bank placeholders and player IDs. Also, just before we start off, there was recently some feedback changes that happened between this update and now, so I'll be covering those in this video as well. So let's start off with bank placeholders. Arrange your bank in the layout of your dreams and have it stay that way with bank placeholders. Organising your bank has gotten a whole lot easier. We can now create reserved bank slots for specific items, allowing us to have a fixed layout in our banks. With this new level of organisation, we should never struggle to find our items again because we'll know the exact location for every item we have in our banks. To create a placeholder, what you're going to have to do is right-click an item and choose the placeholder option. This will withdraw all the items in the bank slot and leave a placeholder. Or you can choose the Always Set Placeholder option at the bottom of the bank screen to make withdrawals leave the placeholder. Now, this button was originally in the middle of the bank screen, however the most recent feedback changes meant that they moved it to be on the right alongside with similar buttons. To get rid of a placeholder, you're going to have to right-click the one that you want to get rid of and choose the release option. Alternatively, if you want to get rid of all your placeholders, you can go to the bank settings and choose the Release All Placeholders button. Some items share placeholders, such as an Amulet of Glory. A glory with any number of charges will result into the same bank placeholder. They've done this for plenty of items, such as partially degraded Barrows items, teleport jewelry, charged and uncharged weapons. They also originally made potions share placeholders. However, the quick fix made it so you can no longer do that with potions, because plenty of people disliked it on that first day of release. Since these placeholders have come into game, they've also addressed the fact that plenty of players try to get multiple of an item as a placeholder. So if you've spent a lot of time in places such as Nightmare Zone and Pest Control, you can return to these and get your items back for most of the reward points. For Nightmare Zone, if you choose the uncharge option on the jewelry, then it'll return most of the points towards you. And for the Void Kit, there's now a dodgy looking squire in the bank who will take the items from you. Of course, when you do this, you're not going to get 100% of the reward points back, because you shouldn't just be able to switch between the rewards silly-nilly. They decided this because we can already sell our Graceful and Prospector's outfits for 80% of their original price, so they figured that this whole thing wouldn't be too bad. And if enough people want, they can do a similar thing for other minigames, such as Barbarian Assault and Tith Farming. So, don't worry, if you've got placeholders, don't throw them away immediately, you might benefit from keeping them later on. The two other feedback changes they did between this update and now is that they managed to fix a bug in which the Always Placeholder toggle wasn't persisting over logout, and they've allowed us to create placeholders for unfinished potions. Next this week, we have the PID Changes. In order for the server to process all the players in the world, the game engine assigns a player ID to each player. Based on this PID, each player is prioritized and processed individually per game tick. Before this update, the prioritization of players was randomized every single tick, making it totally unpredictable and hard to exploit. However, it felt very inconsistently, and this was especially noticed in PvP. In order to keep consistency, they've made the game engine assign player priority between every 100 and 150 ticks, which is between every 60 and 90 seconds. This should mean that during a fight, such as one in the Duel Arena, the player IDs won't change and it will be much more consistent. Hopefully this will allow PvP players to have a much more pleasant experience, and hopefully it's randomized enough that it can't be fully exploited. Next, the East Relic shortcut. There's now a shortcut on the eastern side of Relic, so you no longer have to run around the entire town to get to the other side of the fence. If you've got at least 57 agility, then this new shortcut will definitely help save a lot of your time. Next, Ice Gloves for Blast Furnace. If you're wearing Ice Gloves at Blast Furnace, you can now pick up bars without cooling them first. This should be a nice benefit for players who decide to wear them, which I think is quite interesting when you think about a lot of players there at the moment will use the Goldsmithing Gauntlets for more XP. So I'm rather intrigued to see which gloves will prosper at Blast Furnace. Finally, we've got the other news with some quality of life changes and bug fixes. The fill and check options on the seed box have been switched to be more consistent with the gem bag and herb sack. An uncharge option has been added to black masks and Broodoo shields to deplete the charges they have instantly. The message received when causing a bird's nest to fall whilst woodcutting is now displayed in red. And worlds 313, 343, 352, 374 and 375 have been reverted to regular worlds from Deadman worlds. A tile of stray blocking in the blast mine has been removed. The Grand Exchange sets for Bandos, Armadillo and Ancient Rune Armors are now available as free-to-play items. Wizard Crumpety now knows you have space for his daily free Pure Essence if you have a stack of noted Pure Essence on you. It's now possible to talk to Johannes Ulsbrecht about one small favour if you're in the middle of the Death to Dungeon quest. And levelling up to 22 Hunter now states that you can catch young implings rather than adolescent implings. This week seems like a very nice update. Plenty of things from the most recent polls. I think the bank placeholders are going to be very useful, and eventually everyone will definitely be using them. And all of these other changes are going to be really useful if you get into a situation where you get to use them. If you want to discuss this update, please go on the forums or do so in my comments below. If you want to watch my video on the latest Old School RuneScape developer blog, please click here for the Clue Scroll expansion. And if you're interested in what's happening in Old School RuneScape this month, please click here for my April month ahead video. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the Old School RuneScape updates, dev blogs and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching, goodbye.